Downtown Sumner, Washington. It used to be a whistle stop. Now there's a vintage store we'll have to come back and see, and a used bookstore. So there's some things to do in the vintage world here, including the estate sale we're headed to now. This one is chock full of stuff, but a lot of it is just stuff, maybe not the most amazing stuff. So what we're going to do today is show you how you can go to a place full of kitsch and bric-a-brac and things that people bought because it was cheap and fun to hoard, and pick out the plums and the things that are really worth taking to your antique and vintage customers or adding to your collection. They are selling some things. I saw a nice old bench come out. Nice set here, the washstand set. This is one of the older things I saw in the pictures. $125 for all of it. This is a semi-vitreous, meaning it was sealed, and this is Knowles, Taylor & Knowles, so this is an American set, but it has almost every piece you would see in one of these washstand sets. The big covered bowl, the chamber pot, the small pitcher, the big pitcher, the soap dish, the toothbrush, a shaving mug, and a little pin dish, which is not part of the set. It looks similar, but that's actually a Japanese piece from later. They paid $95 for the bench. That's a good deal. Nice original picture. These are some of the older things in the house. This is the top of the Victorian piece of furniture. Very nice. Hello, everyone. With the round mirror, $75. If you had a piece to set it on as a mirror, it could be a happy marriage. Here's a bunch of cobalt glass now. A lot of this is 1980s. In fact, a lot of what we're seeing here was collected in the 70s and 80s. We're going to look for older pieces. You can tell sometimes by the shape. This is a 1930s piece here, $6. There's also an old Bromo seltzer bottle. Now, you'll have to experiment at home. Get an old piece of glass like this from the 50s. Feel it, and then feel this piece made in the 80s, and this piece has a greasy feeling comparatively. This little Mexican cat there. Salt and pepper shakers. Again, I look for older ones. These are kind of neat. These appear to be from New Zealand, from Fiordland, out of Paua shells. $8 on those. These are antique Japanese here. So in a collection like this, you're going to see newer stuff and older stuff, and you really just have to pick through to find the things that make sense for you. This is part of a kissing set. He has a magnet in his face. That's why his lips are flat. The other half is gone, unfortunately. 1970s era angels in gold. These do sell sometimes. They seem to have 14 each on the larger ones and $6 on the small ones. Here's something that you would have used back in the 50s. During the baby boom. Well, we have a baby, so now we need an extra order of vitamin D milk, eggs, cream cheese. Now we have Instacart. In the old days, you have this. Now, the clown stuff is not an easy sell, and again, this is what this house seemed to have a lot of, were 1970s, 80s collectibles, a lot of Ron Lee clowns. A few of those sell, but they made tons of them, and mostly they're a tough sell. However, I look for things from Ringling Brothers because that's extinct, and there are people who collect it for that reason. This doesn't have a price. I don't think it's going to be much. I'm going to hang on to it. These wine decks are mostly newer. You can tell they're a little lighter weight than the old Wine toys, and look how new that drum looks. Some old kitchenware, a lot of Delft Blue, and again, Delft Blue, there's a ton that was done as souvenirs in more recent times. I look for things that have other functions or with a windmill that turns. Those are more likely to sell. KLM airline bottles from this era sell, but a whole lot of this stuff, and it is truly Delft, but it was being made in the 80s and 90s, so there is not a big collector following yet. Now, the blue mirror here, on the other hand, this is 1930s, and if it'll come clean, if that's not a permanent stain, this would be a good display piece. Well, we did the old spit shine method, and it looks like the glass is mostly not reactive yet. Let's see along the corners where the beveling is. It's a little bit aged. We'll give that some thought. Even some of these pieces can be deceiving. This is old, and you can tell because it has wear and it's very heavy. $22 is a pretty good price on that. The Farina is out of an older set. This piece, fairly new. Very popular in the 1980s. It's starting to be popular again. But again, knowing new from old. The old hat, that is an old piece from the 30s. $4 is a good price. This is a jam jar. Oh no, it's got its shed. Well, that's too bad. The cruet with the clear stopper is 80. The stopper does not fit well. This is a 1930s piece, however. My friend Nona, who sells at Power Avenue Antiques, where I sell in Centralia, bought this piece for $145, and what a great deal. An oak 1910 era corner cabinet. Here's a nice Eastlake marble top table. I am starting to see interest in marble tops, and $65 is a great price. The condition's really good on this one. Nice Westmoreland piece with the painting. This wedding box, $22 is not a bad price. There's room in that, but I have one already. This big jar looks like the old apothecary jars, but this is a 1980s or 90s edition for $22. Now, this is a 1980s piece. It's $16. It's very heavy. It's molded, but that is a good-looking piece of glass. I am not sure who the maker is. It is a molded piece. It's not hand-blown, but it's not marked Hong Kong or Taiwan. This is one where I will make an exception for a piece from this era because it's got a very good mid-century look, and it is truly vintage. Go in the kitchen for a minute here. Again, a lot of this glass 1980s, even though it has a Deco look, because the Deco revival was strong in the 80s. Japanese tea set. Now this is a great deal if you know China. This is Rosenthal, not one of the Japanese lookalikes. This is the courtship pattern on the pompadour blank. I would think that if you looked at completed sales, you would see about $200 worth of value in that if you broke it up. These are Tiffin. $18 for the set of larger glasses is tempting because it's a great color, and that's actually pretty reasonable for 7. It's only about $2.50 a piece. These are from about 1980 as well. I could see people collecting that to go with a false craft pattern perhaps, or even to use with Corel to spice it up a little bit. In the middle of the Rosenthal is this piece, which again does not go along. This is a pen rest. Ah, and it's Limoges. I usually get about $10 or $12 for those when I sell them. Early carnival glass, $26 on this nice one with the irises. And then the 1940s era iris and herringbone depression glass in the carnival is $14. Or Christmas stuff, I see the Three Wise Men. It's $18 for the set. That's not a bad price. They are candle holders, so that's something I think could sell. Most of the rest of this is very recent vintage. Old Easter tea spit. It's missing the top. It is an egg with feet, but it is supposed to have some sort of an animal head on it. Cute little deer here. This is ceramic. It's Bambi-esque, one of the Japanese companies, but it's got a broken leg. Thanksgiving and Easter candles. These are from the 50s and 60s, the little pilgrims. These are more recent. Look at the bottom. Entirely different. Nice tea set here in pink. Sadler out of England. Now there is a nice jewelry casket hiding down here. I don't know that this is old, but it has an old look and it's certainly priced well. It looks to me, actually, looking at the bottom, that it's a Japanese one, probably made in the 1970s with the look of an old one, but that's a good price for it. $30 on the indoor golf petting thing so you could practice in your office or during cold weather. Mark's Wild West little bagatelle, a miniature one from the 60s. Oh, no score. $20, not scoring on that either. Big old cheese dish for $12. It has that crack-a-lure, but some people really like that look. Now, on the other hand, somebody might look at this from a distance and say, ooh, Flow Blue, but no, it is Portuguese from about 30 years ago, and they did the bluish background because they knew Flow Blue was popular, so you have to look closely at things when you're talking a house that has a lot of this era stuff in it. $3 on the trivet from about 1900 is a nice price. Trivets are something that are functional for people, so that might be a saleable item. This piece of glass for $14 seems nice. It's heavy, it's good quality. It's also well finished on the bottom, so I believe this is Murano. I don't see any maker name. Sometimes the etches are very hard to see, but I don't see one on this. But I think that's a good piece for the price, and it's a good color. Bright blue is something you don't see as much, and people seem to like it. So I think we'll put that in our pile. Dunsmuir, California, Shasta Caverns. Oh, and look, just in time from the 80s. Fake brick for your fireplace or fake clouds. Those could be fun backgrounds for YouTube videos. Blonde dresser here from the 50s, but very plain. 15 on this old egg scale would be a great deal if it had all of its parts, but it looks to be missing something. Unfortunately, it's the reliable egg scale in galvanized metal from about 1910. I have sold these before. These are Coco Joe's. It's a napkin holder. Lots of plastic angels. I know Fontini sells, but they are not anything I'm looking for. All right, over here we have Skill Pool. This would be fun if you had the room for it. This looks like something right out of a tavern. And then you've got game table covers. And let's see what these are. Anytime I see something psychedelic day-glow color, oh, and it's advertising sugar, these are an old grocery store display. Great graphics from the early 70s. Circus time. They're not flawless, but if the price is right, this would be a fun attention getter in a booth. And I don't see any price on it, so I'm not thinking they're going to charge much. It looks like there's 3. I'll pick the best one. Okay, garden stuff. I mean, they really just liked all sorts of kitschy things. That's kind of cute. This is towards the end of enamel on metalware in the United States, and they were trying to keep it going by putting designs on it. Georges Briard came up with that idea, actually, and it kept it all going for a while. $6 on that is not a bad price. That's cute. Here's a silent butler, Art Nouveau era, or arts and crafts era from about 1910. The idea was you could go around and brush crumbs and ashes and things into a nice little tray and carry them away while your guests were still reveling. Bachmann big haulers. These are your kind of trains you put under your Christmas tree. Someone really loved the circus in this house and clowns. $30 each. And these are fairly recent vintage as well. I think these folks had a restaurant or something. I see Coca-Cola stuff. These look like panels that would have been backlit. Supreme pizza boxes. Arrivederci. Indeed. And let's see what these posters are. Now that I found those cool C&H posters, I'm going to look through this whole box. More pizza posters. Okay. Christmas wreaths. 80s era die cuts. Cute little wicker stroller. This looks like it is a reproduction. It's a little too lightweight to actually hold a baby. Resin grapes in amber. $28. Not the most exciting set, though. There's just oceans of stuff to look through. But since we're looking for vintage, it's a pretty easy gaze, and we can tell this isn't it. Battery operated locomotive here. And the marks in the box, but 35 is about what I get for those. It's not one of their most valuable toys. This is a pretty set, or pretty large set too. And this is Castleton Bouquet, another good American China making company that a lot of people don't know. But they were of similar quality to Lenox, and at $65 again, if you were a pattern matcher, you could make money on that set. This looks more recent, but it's not. It's actually Theodore Hapland. Same era. I like these. Some are in better shape than others. You could buy the 4 that were in good shape, and I think someone would buy them because they're only $22 a piece. They have backs. They look like something from about 1960, and they have color. Signed by the Mills Brothers. That's fun. $25. Casey Jones's Double Cocktail Special. It's fun that it looks like a billboard. This must have been in some restaurant somewhere. I like that. Let's see what we have for bar stuff. Harvey's Lake Tahoe tiki glass. The wind-up music here, the canter. The thirst extinguisher. This also plays music. Plays How Dry I Am. I have this, but no musical parts on the bottom left. So I really like these. They were decorated by Gay Fad, and they're deliberately made so that you have the I'm not drunk yet and now I am. At $12 a pair, I'm going to give them a try. I haven't had any in a long time. It's a little more than I usually pay, but I think they're neat. Have a drink with the Pfeiffers. Bill and Jane. I don't buy a lot of cone ceramics, but this looks very 70s, and it's a frog. And it might sell just for that. $6. Apparently they ran Corbin Fountain Lunch, and that is the reason that we're seeing a lot of things related to restaurant in here. Coconut Monkey is $12. Same with Coconut Turtle. Amazing what you can do with a good coconut. The ubiquitous classic star napkin holder from every restaurant in the 60s and 70s. There's a bunch of these political pins, but they are reproductions, and they say so on the edges. It's hard to show you because they're in bags, but you won't be fooled if you look at the edges. We'll take a quick look out here. There's a lot of stuff that looks like it's useful. These little shovels, sometimes if they fold, are a U.S. Army issue, and they can be collectible. And they have lots of fun stuff. The deer would have sold, but they're marked not for sale. Someone in the family must be keeping them. Obviously, they had a lot of fun collecting a lot of different things. Amazing Totem Owl is not for sale, but this concrete bird bath for $62 is actually a pretty good deal, especially for having a figurine in it. Well, my big-eyed friend and I invite you to follow the channel and follow us everywhere we go. Please do hit thumbs up to let YouTube know you're enjoying this video. Please also subscribe, and then you can click the bell to be notified of future videos. If you're interested in supporting the channel with a membership, you can go to the membership links below the dash line in the description of this video and find out all about the perks. Apparently pizza was one of the things they sold. Pizza wedges. Jewelry looks like it's had a few visitors already. And to be honest with you, it all seemed pretty new and low-end. This is a nicely carved Victorian chair here, but there's just a single. Lots of puka shells, and a ton of shells in general. Pismo clams from Pismo Beach. $3. The prices are certainly right, and there are definitely people who collect. Okay, 2 more rooms left. Some more washstand pitchers and bowls. This does seem like an older piece. There were a lot done again in the 1970s, and in a house like this, you have to be careful because you're going to see both eras. Furniture is American walnut. Nice looking. 1960s. Now here is a dresser set that is not old. It looks old, but take a look. Even the sticker on it tells us that this is done by a local potter. Look how poor the transfer is on it. They just sort of stuck a decal on it. It's not even completely all there. Big difference between that and the older ones. Wow. And this, no doubt, has been emptied. Great arranger. Nice craft bench, $145. South Pacific. I only saw a few albums, and they did not look like the kind of things we have collectors for these days. Mr. Bill's Pizza. Yeah, see, this is part of what the house was involved with. $55 on this case. That could be handy. And whew, more posters and lots of books, but nothing really old. Well, we had good success finding good things that are collectible in the middle of a lot of things that were just sort of ho-hum. And that is encouraging us to go to one other sale that we saw that is similar in that regard. We spent $59 at this place, expecting to get somewhere close to $175 retail value out of it. So let's see if we have the same luck at the next one. Well, this crazy little house behind me looks like it's stuffed full of weird, kitschy things, and it did have some cool stuff. I'm on day 2 of the sale. Who knows what'll be left, but we're gonna go look anyway.
This looks like a place that somebody really had a lot of fun for a long time. Looks like we go this way. Well, out in the yard here, $52 is actually a good price. These pagodas sell, and I haven't seen one on a pedestal before. Unfortunately, I have a lifting restriction right now. Somebody had fun making that. That might be good in my Florida spaces. All right, let's take a look at cups and saucers and such. This is interesting with the fast stand, meaning it's attached. That's actually Japanese. That's a Japanese set. We've had those at estate sales we've done before. I'm a little curious about this piece. It looks hand-thrown. Oh, it's Bezic, or Beswick. That's kind of cute with the cottage on it. $8. See, this is the kind of thing I think people are overlooking right now. I'm going to get this. This looks very California 60s to me. Yeah, it's California, probably Marcia of California. That's silver plate because it's shiny bright. So are those pieces from the Victorian era. This looks like a Japanese set here. I've had interest in bowling patches, but these are a little newer than what I do. Unicorn looks very 80s. Lots of buffles. It's definitely this kind of an estate. That is the silliest cat picture. A lot of sort of ersatz schmaltz gear. Okay, well, half price is until noon, but I don't think I'm going to hang around that long, so I'm just going to look for the stuff that I like at the full price. These are $10 for the set, and they are Pyrex from the 60s. It's quite a pile of dishes here. They're kind of plain, but I always thought they were sort of attractive too, because you could do almost anything with them and match them up where something with a similar color set on top. But I don't know that I need them. Looks like a glass bake for $24. Kitchen is small. This is Louis glass. I wish they had a set of these because I have the pitcher that goes with it. This is from the 1930s. Only $2. It's a great price, but I need 6 or 4 or 8. I had a thing about making puzzles and then turning them into things. Ooh, look at this 3D panda. Isn't that a movie? From pandas to puppies. Okay, I don't even get that. And more kitties. I think whoever lived here made these because I'm seeing them all over the house. Saturday Night Fun by Ilka Torkelson. Oh, this is for bowling. Here is a pile of linens. Crocheted little piece there. Looks nice. I wonder how they're pricing these. Oh, that has a stain. I have a bunch of linens I need to put out. I guess I don't really need to go crazy with these. Yeah, this is cute. This is something that was handmade also with the cats at the Google Eyes, but it is to hold the ironing board. A very late 50s dresser. They have 125 on it. It's definitely got the look with all the starbursts, but that finish is not super popular. Dog boots. Protects dog's paws. I should get these for Bo. He actually gets dermatitis if we don't dry his paws after he goes outside. I'm sure he would hate these, though. Oh, and doggy sanitary pads. I have bought popsicle lamps before. This is definitely a home craft from the 50s and 60s. There was a bar in Florida that had a whole bunch of these. They're only asking $15. It's actually pretty reasonable for what they are. It's a very kitschy folk art. All right, let's see. We've got clothing here. This one, Haband of Patterson, made in Korea. That looks like traditional Philippine dress, actually. More crocheted pillows. A very crafty family lived here, you can tell. Let's see what these flannels look like. Newer. These are all kind of thin. Okay. This pillow with the floral pattern might sell when they're blue and white ticking. They always sell because people want the fabric. A lot of home ceramic stuff that they purchase from people around the area, I'm sure. These old dolls are kind of sweet for $12 a piece with their lace gowns. Yeah, this is plastique. Little ruby stained piece here. Charleton Minis, 1907. Oh, that is a candle. Imported talcum. People are afraid of talcum nowadays. Yes, this place definitely was chock full of a lot of stuff. Asa barometer. Yeah, they're basically saying when the donkey's tail is wet, it means it's raining. A very 60s looking tablecloth in plastique. $125 on this guitar. This is a Stella Harmony, which is a low-end brand. But it's a nice look with the sunset finish from about 1960. There's the dresser to go with. Bunch of Avon bottles. So it's like they actually sold some at $3 a piece. That's about the right price. They're really well made. Wheaton Glass did them, but for the most part, they made so many, they're just not collectible. A baby linen. This scarf is kind of cute. See if it has a label. Yes. Made in Japan. Yeah, so it has a little age. 100% acetate. It's horrible the way they murdered those acetates to make this. Hankies in a little cedar box, but not a very interesting cedar box, unfortunately. 1980s era checker chess set. This is the kind of kitsch that looked fun in this house, and this is still here. This is obviously a peacock on a branch, but ooh, my. I guess it just wants to come down. We'll just leave it then. But it doesn't have a good backing, so it wavers a lot. All right, back here we have something that was used as the electronics room with a lot of older electronics. I love the old radio Rootby turntable, but it is melted. Lots of little Honko figures. Unless it's the Murder Elf, we really don't see a lot of buyers. The Brother cassette corrector writer. That's very blue from about 1980. Brother was just about the last one still making cut writers at that time. There's the box for it back there, but that fellow who was just in here was mentioning to me that there's the replacement ribbons and that these actually sell really well online. So this is something to look for because the people who do have the old typewriters, if it's a specific cassette like this, well, where are they going to get it? Little alarm bell system of some sort for $45. $95 on the old car radio from about 1950. Plastique wall sconces. Okay, well these are oil lamps and they have a platinite finish, but they're going to date to the 1950s and 60s. They're not as old as people think they are, and they've got them priced at $28 each, which to me is what they're worth. Interesting lusterware. I love the Art Deco. I don't really get the flower on it. I'm sure it's Japanese, 1930s. Hey, Garner, who was Maverick and Jim Rockford in the Rockford Files. I like the frame. It's also plastique. $15. It's great shape. And then this piece is old Paris porcelain. This is a Victorian era. Well, they called it Regency in France. But it's definitely an old Paris shape with the flowers at the top and the handles. And they don't even have a price on it. These used to sell for a lot of money. They don't sell for a lot now, but I'm betting it'll be cheap. And at a cheap price, it'll still sell for something. I guess they liked Star Trek Voyager a lot. And more Avon bottles, the cars, which were my favorite as a kid. And lots of plushes. These folks definitely collected, but they didn't really collect a lot of high-end stuff. And they were buying from Fingerhead, which was mail order and not expensive stuff. Although I don't think those were originally in there. Plastic motorcycle, newer dolls. Christmas, we do have one box of wood ornaments here. They're asking $25 for that. 'Tis the season. Coat glass from about 1980. If they have a set of those are a little different than what we usually see. Bunch of the Libby Silver Leaf. Roy and Ruth lived here, apparently. And they obviously were having a lot of fun. I do like their glass-eyed cats. I think this is a can for a body. Or a Pringles container. They definitely were crafty. Okay, these are going to be Miller Studio. Nope, they're plastic. They're not as good as that. and we're going to leave them. The reason I didn't run here, as you can tell, is the house has a lot of low-end stuff, and it's very kitschy, but I did think that some of this stuff was just sort of fun. So here we are. And speaking of fun, well, they filled the yard with a lot of stuff too. So let's take a look here. Some sort of stamped metal. The bench is likable. I always sell those pretty well. The happy blue bird bath. You can tell by the plants that we are going out of season on this. Here's one of these plastic owls. These were actually meant to frighten away mice and things. Oh yes, kitschy kitsch. Somebody bought the donkey missing his ears, but that's actually a pretty cool thing. Even without the ears, it's a good look.
I think I'm going to see if I get a wire.
This delightfully decaying deer just sold for $50. $20 on the beads, very 70s. Cute little game and billiards table there. They're actually pretty convenient. You can flip that top over, use it for cards, flip it over again and use it as a solid table in a corner, or pick it up and have the little billiards parlor there. Love the old hydroplane. It's not in very good shape, unfortunately, and that's why it's only $25, and that's why it's still here, because these are popular around here. Back here, a little bit of wire furniture with a paint job for $6. This actually could be huge. I have a feeling it's not as rickety as it looks. I think it's this wood platform we're standing on here. Boy, they really did have something going here at one time. They were very house proud. Bugs is a little too worn, but he's cool. If you need some of these, this is only $25. That's like a quarter of what you'd pay new. It's worth going to estate sales for these. Green bench is cool, but it seems like it's not in great shape. I think this place, as time went on, they couldn't keep up with all of the stuff that they had made. $22 for a compact extension ladder. That's a pretty great deal too, actually. And well, here's the equipment that made all that stuff we were seeing. Wooden railroad is $23. I like the for sale sign. More whirligigs. Thing to look for in old garages, of course, are old tins that were used for, in this case, crystalline. And long before he made Vegematic, Ron Popeil started with this donut maker around 1950 in the original box, and they want $14. Universal food and meat chopper truly is universal. You see them in almost every estate. Old crock pots, old mason jars. The label is nice on that one, but I don't see anything I need in here. Wet. That's a cool sign. They're not in great shape. And there's the candy pink Dutch boy Camden they got with it. Okay, this looks like part of a croquet set. If it's all of a croquet set, $12 is a great price. Let's see what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It says it's for 6 players. But I see 5 balls, 4 mallets. Okay, there's the 6th ball. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Might be all there. There's the mailbox. Ooh, those planes are pretty cool. I wonder if nobody has noticed them up there. Okay, they're asking $145 and $225. Well, those would be great to come back for at half price. This looks like a bunch of early American press glass that was never used. They made this up until the 1980s, so there's a ton of it around, but it's in great shape. Very popular around 1980, and you can tell because these are colors very popular around 1980 to do decorated cookware. And there's some more examples right there. Well, I spent $32, and I've got to tell you, this is a good example. Not every house has to be a luxurious mansion. You can find cool old stuff in places that look like this.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.